Welcome everyone to another Top 5 video, the video series where I give you my trashy opinion of what I think is the top 5 things you should totally check out if you're interested in a specific genre or something. In today's video, we will go over my top 5 wholesome anime shows you should totally check out. I would assume you're looking for some since you decided to watch this video thus far. Or maybe you just love my beautiful personality that you just couldn't get enough of me. Yeah. Well, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, at number 5 we have the sweetest and most charming show called USAGI Drop. This show first aired in July of 2011 with only 11 episodes to its name, produced by Studio Production IG, which also famously produced shows like Attack on Titan or Fooly. I know you won't be disappointed by how wonderfully animated the show is for sure. The show follows the 30-year-old bachelor Daikichi Kawachi. One day he finds out that his grandfather passed away, so he goes to pay his respects. Among the midst of all this grief, the family is presented with a predicament. It appears that his grandfather had a legitimate child that no one knew about. Unfortunately for the child, no one wanted to take her in as she was not officially part of the family. Angered by his relatives bickering as to who would take her in, Daikichi announces he would take responsibility. Follow Daikichi in his journey in the hardships of being a single father. I'm not gonna lie, this show was just so sweet and charming. As someone who loves watching slice of life shows, this is one of those shows that just hits the spot. Eventually, I came to a point where I wanted to know what happened, so I started to read the manga. Unfortunately, it slowly turns into a drama that is focused less on the relationship between Ren and Daikichi. But that's all I can say for now because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. For number 4, we have a recent show that goes by the name of KAKUSHIGOTO. This is actually one of my friend's favorite shows, so I'm sure he's happy to hear that it's on the list. This show first aired in April of 2020 with only 12 episodes to its name, produced by Studio UDON, which also made the show How to Not Summon a Demon Lord. Shocking, isn't it? Like, how does a studio goes from making an ecchi anime like that into a wholesome show like KAKUSHIGOTO? Then again, it's just the animation they made and not the actual story. And speaking of animation, this one doesn't miss. It's very nice to the eyes and gives off that wholesome atmosphere too, while having its own style and charm. This show follows a famous mangaka that goes by his actual name, KAKUSHIGOTO. Due to the nature of his works, ecchi manga, he does whatever he can to make sure his daughter does not find out his secret. You follow the paranoid Kakushi and his struggles to hide his biggest secret from his daughter. The show itself is pretty hilarious and very wholesome at the same time. You see Kakushi struggling trying to hide this big secret at whatever cost. I'm surprised he gets paid enough to afford such methods to do so. Apparently his disguise is salaryman, but as if anyone would believe that. I love how he does whatever he can to make sure his daughter is happy, so that's an awesome thing to see. If you like shows that mix wholesomeness with comedy, then by all means please check out the show. At number 3, we have probably one of the most popular wholesome shows, Barakamon. Personally, this one got me into these types of wholesome shows, and I believe it's what started the trend, if I'm not mistaken. But then again, looking at how this show was made in the summer of 2014, it might have just shedded light on the genre instead. The show was animated by the studio Kinema Critis, which also animated shows like Shield Hero and Made in Abyss. So you know the animation is going to be pretty good. The show has about 12 episodes to its name. You follow an up-and-coming calligrapher, Seishu Handa, and his journey to regain his inspiration into finding his own style of calligraphy. He followed the practice of calligraphy to a T that the veterans called his work unoriginal, which bothered Handa. Exiled by his own father for starting a ruckus because of the comment that was made, he is sent to live on an island filled with unique locals to reflect. and find his own style. He slowly learns what it means to be himself as he interacts in the daily life of the locals. The show is just a breath of fresh air to me. I love how alive the atmosphere of the show is. I especially like how many interesting characters you get to meet as you progress further into the show. You eventually find yourself being charmed by this kid named Naru, which as a character brings out the best in Honda, since he's so stuck up and serious. And funny enough, they actually released a prequel called Hanu-kun, which revolves around Honda's high school years, and in that show, he's very serious. If you like a lively anime show full of wonderful characters, then I would highly recommend giving the show a watch. At number 2, we have another wonderful wholesome show called POCO'S Udon World. If I'm not mistaken, I think this one was the second most popular wholesome show after Barakamon. First aired in October of 2016, you follow Sota Tawara as he returns to his hometown where he grew up and his family-owned udon restaurant. As he enters the empty and rundown restaurant, he encounters a young boy sleeping within. He decides to shelter this boy and take him in, only to realize that he has ears and a tail. It was rumored that a shape-shifting tanuki lived in his hometown. Thinking very little about this, he takes the boy, now nicknamed Poco, in and takes care of him. Follow the heartwarming relationship of Sota and Poco as they spend time together in the small town of Kagawa. The show was animated by Leiden Films, the same studio who animated shows like Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches, Koi to Uso, and Berserk and many other shows. With only one season with 12 episodes to its name, this show is something you could easily binge within a day. As you continue to immerse yourself in the bond between Poco and the others, you find yourself invested in Poco's background. This show is something that is a must-watch if you like tanukis and heart-wrenching moments, because it has a lot of them. Now at number 1, we have one of my personal favorite shows called Sweetness and Lightning. Many of you might not be too familiar with this show considering it's a show that is kinda underground unless you actively search for it. This show first aired in July of 2016, so literally a couple months before POCO'S Udon World, which I find kinda funny. But I'd say it's a good thing because you have more wholesome slice of life shows to watch in the fall. With a good run of 12 episodes to its name, you can pretty much binge watch the show within a day. The animation is really good and was done by TMS Entertainment, the same anime studio who did top tier shows like Dr. Stone, D. Greyman, Rent-A-Girlfriend, and others. This show follows Kohei Inuzuka and his struggles with being a single dad and raising his only child, Tsumugi, to his best of his abilities. He gets persuaded into bringing his daughter frequently to a closed restaurant that is owned by his student's family as a thanks. The student, Kotori, eventually invites him and his daughter to eat dinner with her occasionally to fill that emptiness since her mother is always away. Watch as the relationship between Kotori, Kohei, and his daughter grows. The show is very nice. It kind of gives you a perspective on how important supporting the people you love is. Personally, I just recently started watching the show, and I guess I might have a little bit of bias, but you know, that's just how it is sometimes. I just want to clarify that all the shows on this list are so good and wholesome to the max, but that's only if you're the kind of person who likes shows of this nature. I'm sure some of you will find these recommendations kinda boring, but as I stated at the beginning of the video, it's just my opinion. If you have a list of wholesome shows that you think should be on the list, type it out in the comment section below. I'm always looking for new shows to add to my watch list, so yeah. If you find this video very helpful in any way, it would be wholesome of you to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. I'm sure they might find at least one show on this list that is pretty interesting. And as always, have a wonderful week and happy holidays!